In this video, we'll talk about why typically it's not a good idea to trade something that just hits an exchange or something that maybe just hits the market. I'm seeing this BLZ. It just recently, I think, hit Binance. And what you'll notice, and I'll go through some of this, why it's usually not a good idea. It all depends, though, depending on how old this coin is, if it's been on other exchanges, if it has a history, right? So I'll go through some of the things I look at here. And the reason why I bring up BLZ is because I've seen this pop up on a couple monitors I use quite a bit. And that shows me that there's buyers, right? So usually what happens on some of these, and let me see if I can find that chart. Where's that one asset? Yeah, so I found this. So I broke my rule, and I do this every now and then. You know, every, I think, month, I think I have to break one of the rules that I set for our trading, and just to remind myself why it's a rule. But here's a prime example. So AE. So I traded this. I actually traded this like here. So here on the 14th, and I actually was able to get out, right? But I didn't fully get out of the position because I was looking at this. And I went just above this tick mark, which is a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. And let me scroll in so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So I think I got in. Where was I at? Here we go. So I got in here, right? And I wrote it up here. And for some reason, I usually would have put my last exit right here, but I put it up here. Like, I think I was looking at this. I don't know why. Anyways, so I didn't get exited out, and I have like a bag in this, or I don't like the word bag, but I have a position that I couldn't exit out, right? So the reason why you don't want to trade new charts is because this happens. You see this? There's no, well, look at what first happens, right? So people get excited, and then with some of the new ICOs, they're putting restrictions on the ability for people to actually dump their tokens right away. They're giving it like a window, like 3 to 4 months or maybe 6 to 8 months. So it's becoming more risky to do an ICO. But the problem is there's so many just sellers, so it can depress the price, and you never know when those sellers run out. And most of these sellers, their profit is so great at this point in time that it doesn't even make sense for them to even hold up and let it ride up. They can depress the price down quite a bit and still make a lot of profit on what they invested, right? So you're going to see this, and then it stabilizes after a second. So if we look at another chart here, TNT, and TNT, it's kind of the same thing. What happens is you see this big depression, right? Like here. And then there's a shoot up because people get excited, like, oh, I just hit it in exchange, there's something new. And then suddenly the sellers say, yeah, now I can sell, thanks. And they keep selling and they keep selling. And yeah, there's a little bit of runs here. And then they really sell, right? If we go here, they really sell. And then it kind of slowly, ticks its way back up. If you had a time machine, obviously, and you wanted to hold on to your kind of capital a while, you could say, well, entry down here isn't bad, and all I have to do is wait 59 days. So 60 days, you'd be back here. But if you would have cashed out way up here, you'd be happy, right? So let's say that you did buy here, right? You bought it on a breakout because the price stabilized, right? That's 29 days, and you're looking anywhere from 332% profit. So that's why you want to wait for it to hit the exchange for a little bit. And this isn't a strategy that's guaranteed too. When you look at something like BLZ, the difference that I see in BLZ that's a little bit different is that the buyers aren't getting slapped as hard by the sellers yet, right? So there's a little bit of a slapping going on here, right? But you'll see here, there's usually enough room if you wanted to day trade it. 6%. There's a 12% here, and then it even went up even more, right? So there's enough kind of, and there's currently a run on it right now. There's enough excitement behind whatever this project is to actually maybe invest something that I would suggest when something just hits a new market, right? So if you trade Binance and something just gets added, you want to watch it for a couple days. and see kind of where does it stabilize. And you see it's on a downtrend. So if we go back these other charts, which you could probably reason, and let's go to TNT. You could probably reason maybe you're going to see a similar type of thing. Like it's going to bounce, it's going to go down here, and then there'll be a gradual rise. That's obviously the human brain and most, I'd say, unsophisticated investors assume that everything always goes up. So you should always assume that it's going to continue down. But if it follows the pattern of similar assets, right, you could be looking at something like this. So that's where you'd want to be looking at one good strategy on BLZ, for instance. This is a good strategy to kind of long term, right? And hopefully I'm not going too quick here, but basically you start trading this. Ideally, you would have started trading this here, right? And what you do is you focus on trying to make 9 to 10% in your trades. And let's say you trade 100 lots of this, right? And then you bank 9. So you don't take out your profits, but you make about 9%, 9 to 10%, and you pull out 91%. And you're just building kind of these free coins in this project, right? If you do that, when it does hit its run, you're going to have, a couple, maybe a couple hundred of these coins possibly. And then maybe on some of these dips, if you say, well, it's worth me maybe only cashing out 70%, right? Because you look at the chart, you look at the price, maybe you look at the project, and that's where you can say, hey, this is a 60-day play, right? You can look at it that way. Keep in mind, you're assuming that it's going to rise, and you should always take profits when you can. So let's say you did do this, and let's say you had like 100 coins saved up, and let's say it rose up to here at 58%. Take some of those profits. Don't wait for it to get to like 100, 200, 300. Really, that's the key. One other thing I want to mention here is that often I say that I never like look at what something is before I trade it. And that's true. That's generally, I just trade straight off the charts. But when there's something new and I don't know what it is, and there's a potential that we might have to put it in our long-term hold bucket, I always look and see what is it, right? Now with BLZ, I wasn't sure. I'm still not sure actually, because there's 2 BLZs. So one of the things you'll have to do when you do this research, if you use Coin Market Cap, is go to markets. And so, for instance, this one here, it's not Blaze Coin because that one's just on Cryptopia, right? You're assuming this is accurate too. So we'll go to Blue Zell. And then what you're looking for here, so it's on Binance. And another good thing is that it's just on Binance, right? So that could be good. It could be, usually if it's on Binance, that means that the likelihood of it getting on other exchanges is a little bit higher, I noticed. And what you want to look for is exchanges. What are their exchanges on it? What's the volume there, right? You also want to see social. You want to look at the social side here, and you want to see, do they update their Twitter account? This is 7 hours ago. It's, it might be an Asian kind of coin, Asian-based coin. You can go to the Reddit page and see how active the Reddit is. What you're really looking for is there a community of holders here? Is there a community of people that really want really want this coin or really looking forward to it? So, this is, and then you definitely look at the website, right? Now, once again, I don't do this. I only do this usually on coins that if a chart has enough history, you can trade that because it has enough history. On something that doesn't have enough history, you want to do a little bit more research before you jump in. The other thing, the only reason why I'm looking into it as well is because on the scanners I use, and I've mentioned some of these scanners, I'm seeing BLZ pop up more and more. And I look at the pre-action, or not the pre-action, the new action on the chart, and the chart shows me there's buyers. It doesn't show me like they're being slapped around a lot, and that's key. Of course, there's natural cycles, right? But I just don't see it as like a huge depression. Now, what would concern me at this point in time is if it runs up here, right? And like you just see just a depression, and it goes down and it just completely goes on a downtrend, right? This is actually not a bad downtrend for hitting a new market. So I probably will start trading this more. So if you're in the Discord group, you'll hear my calls and stuff like that. But be mindful of that. You never know how many sellers out there are. And I also would have someone on the team here look and see, is there a lockup period for the tokens? Because if their tokens are locked up until maybe April or something, then it's not free reign. But then you kind of know, okay, well, things are going to get much more volatile on the sell side in April. So it's something to keep in mind. Hopefully that video helps. Hopefully I was clear on kind of the point. The key thing is that when something hits your exchange that you're trading, or exchanges that you trade, tread very carefully when you trade those, especially if it's new to the market.